It is all about knowing your audience.
Hi, welcome to the Realtors Conspiracy Podcast. I'm Maud Leger and I'm here with Diane Unman from Integris Law, your co-founder. Tell us a little bit more about what you do.
Hi there. Well, thank you so much for having me. So I'm Diane Unman, co-founder of Integris Law, and we primarily focus on residential real estate, and then my secondary practice is wills and powers of attorney.
Very cool.
Yeah.
How's the partnership going with real estate agent? I know you're in really close with the brokerages. How does that work and how does that benefit real estate agents?
Yeah, so we have relationships with a number of brokerages, and we find that to be very helpful because there are many times that we're the last to get the information. So the deal is already firm and we're just given the contract and we're like, all right, good to go. Here's the closing date. See you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But being involved more at the beginning, especially in situations where the property that we're discussing is a little bit unusual, it's really great to be included, so we can make suggestions on clauses to include in the agreement of purchase and sale. Yeah.
Very cool. And what's the benefit the benefit for a realtor to have you on the partnership? How can they leverage the partnership with you to get their next listing?
Sure. So we certainly work with a number of agents where they regularly refer their clients to us. Certainly no agent can say, you must use this lawyer. You can make recommendations, but just like everybody, you have your preferred vendors. So if you're able to approach a new potential client for a new listing and you're like, I have these preferred vendors that I've worked with in the past, I know them to be, trustworthy and reliable and communicative, that just better serves the client, the homeowner.
Nice, very cool. What advice would you give realtors regarding investors and dealing with investment properties?
Right. So from my perspective, it is all about knowing your audience. So certainly when a client comes to me and they're either a first-time home buyer or an investor, the types of conversations and the details that I get into vary greatly. So I'd imagine from the realtor side, it's the exact same way. An investor is not going to care that a carpet is beige versus gray versus whatever. They're about the numbers. Do the numbers make sense? What's the neighborhood appreciating at, like all of those issues where maybe a first-time home buyer, they're just trying to get into the market, they're trying to make a home for themselves, and they have different priorities.
Nice, very cool. What advice would you give to realtors like wanting to grow their business?
Talk to everyone. And I mean, I use that advice myself. And it's just been quite interesting, whether it's starting Integris or in my past positions at different companies. You just never know where a conversation is going to take you. So it's about just, being a people person, being genuinely interested in somebody's story. And you just never know where that conversation may lead you.
Nice, very cool. What are the most common questions you get from real estate agents that they need to know?
Well, a big one right now is like, what do I do with the keys? And our response is leave the lockbox at the property. That is the most ideal scenario, whether it's during these like COVID times or even afterwards. That's a big one. I'm trying to think of another example. There's certainly, I get questions all the time. So agents regularly text me after hours or on the weekend because that's when the deals are happening. That's when they're putting deals together. And sometimes a little bit of guidance or just being able to provide my 2 cents on an applicable clause that they should consider including just really seems to make the agreement of purchase and sale of drafting go well.
Go smooth. Very cool. And then you're as a co-founder of Integris Law, what would you say, as a business owner, the best advice you've had in your business?
Don't get buried in debt on day one.
Nice.
Don't sign up for everything. Don't sign a 5-year lease before you have clients. Don't like all of those things, especially from the legal perspective. A lot of traditional law offices do that. They're hiring staff right away, assistants, law clerks. All of a sudden, they've have this huge amount of overhead and very few clients to support it. So that was definitely something that we followed, and it's worked out because we've been able to grow very quickly because we had the cash on hand to be able to do it.
Nice, very cool. That's awesome. When we talked about your firm, it was about the customer service and giving your cell phone number to agents so they can deal with last minute questions. Like, what's the benefit of using your firm?
Well, I would say that's one of the benefits, certainly from the agent's perspective, because if they're stuck in something, they can reach us after hours. So both Brandon and I, my business partner Brandon Lee, we say that we work business hours, not lawyer hours. So we're generally available at most times, and we're just happy to help. And I guess the main thing is, just because a realtor's client can't use us, it doesn't mean that you as an agent can't give us a call because you're stuck on something or you just need clarification. So we view ourselves as not just the representative and the agent for your end client as their lawyer, but we're also viewing ourselves as a resource to you.
That's amazing. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's great to be a resource and a partner for realtors.
Yes.
Very cool. What would be the 3 most valuable traits of a realtor you like to work with, like your ideal realtor client?
Ooh, that's a good one. You know what? Honest, certainly. Let's put that one at the top. But that goes with every industry. That goes in, my personal life, my business life, all of those things. So honest. Like, give me a heads up if the deal is tricky, because then we were able to dedicate more time to that file. So it's not a surprise at the end. Number 2 is being organized. And if you're not great at being organized, at least your deals department is organized, so they're getting us the documents in time, so we've got more than enough time to do the title searches. And then lastly, it sounds so cheesy, but just, being a nice, friendly person. So we can jump on the phone, just jump on the phone. If there's a problem, we can both talk about it. We can figure out the best course of action and get through it for the sake of the client. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the homeowner gets the best service from everyone.
Right.
Yeah. Very cool. What would describe to you a quote that motivates you, like in your business or in your day-to-day life?
I guess just in general, and I can't think of any particular person that said the quote, but it's, don't take no as an answer. There's usually a way around it. And if you get no, use it as motivation to figure out how to do it.
That's a good mantra. That's a good way to be.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then what would be like action things that you feel realtors should be doing to be successful?
I would say take full advantage of any training that your brokerage offers, because they've certainly been in business for many, many years. They know what's helpful. I know there are a number of brokerages that offer, previously in person, but a lot of Zoom training. Many brokerages will have guest speakers come in. For instance, Brandon and I offer that to some of the brokerages we work with, and we'll come in and speak on a topic that is that keeps coming up. So whether it's buying or selling from an estate, or what to look for in a status certificate, just as kind of like a preliminary overview to see if there are really obvious red flags before it gets to the lawyer to do the formal status certificate review. So, and anything like that, just take advantage of any education that your brokerage offers.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you. Tell us, how do you guide realtors on their estates listings?
Yes. So I get this question more and more often, actually, when it comes to estate planning in general. What I would say is, make sure you're helping set reasonable expectations with your clients. So it is going to take longer than a regular purchase and sale. That is the main thing. The key thing to know is when you're figuring out, so the family who's selling, who has the house where the family member has passed away, another family is dealing with the property, they have to file with the court to get something called a certificate of estate trustee, with a will or without a will. And that's basically a certification that the court provides the executor that says you are the approved person to deal with the deceased's estate. And it's that document, that certificate of appointment, that you will absolutely need as a realtor for the deal to close. So certainly the family member who's the appointed trustee or executor, they can sign the APS, but we as lawyers, we will not be able to close the deal until that certificate from the court is received. So just as a broad general kind of timeline consideration, it depends on where the person who passed away, where their primary residence is. So for instance, if they live in Toronto, but we're talking about a property they're trying to sell, say in Hamilton, you're not filing the family and their estate lawyer is not filing these documents in Hamilton. They have to file in Toronto. And unfortunately, Toronto's wait is a very long time. For instance, it's approximately 6, 8, 9 months to get the certificate. So just keep that in mind when you're proposing a closing date, and certainly include a clause at the end that says both sides, the purchasers and the sellers, agree to extend the closing date if needed, if there's a delay in obtaining the certificate. So hopefully, I tried to summarize it as succinctly and almost like Cole's notes of it. But if you have any more specific questions about a particular deal you're working on, feel free to reach out and I can go through it a little more in detail.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Tell us, where do we find you? What's your contact info?
So you can certainly find me online. You can Google me, certainly just by my name, Diane Unman, lawyer, and I usually pop up. More specifically, you can reach me at Integris Law. My email address is diane@integrislaw.ca. And you can find me on Facebook and Instagram as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thanks for all the advice and everything you've shared today.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me.